Hey everyone. Now that we're halfway through 2023, I figured it's a good time to count down my top 10 movies of the year so far. I have seen 22 movies this year. Okay. I have seen 22 movies that were released this year. I've seen way more than 22 movies this year. I'll try to avoid spoilers when I can. There are a couple movies where I know I'm going to get into spoiler territory, so when I do, I'll just put a little warning up on screen. I apologize in advance if I butcher anybody's names. Starting off, my number 10 is Renfield. I genuinely don't know how it's taken this long for Nick Cage to play Dracula. I know he's played a vampire before. Maybe. That was a weird movie. But that wasn't Dracula. This is actually Count Dracula. Like, canonically, this is the same character that Bela Lugosi first played in 1931. And if, like me and you, consider this movie to be in canon with, like, all of those Universal horror movies, even the ones where someone other than Lugosi played Dracula, then that just makes the events of Dracula's daughter that much more heartbreaking, considering what is confirmed/revealed about Dracula in this movie. Renfield is both a delightful, comedic action horror flick, and also a dramatic and well-written tale of someone escaping from a toxic relationship. Like, the people behind this movie clearly did their research in that regard. The Nicks, Cage and Holt, are both great, and Awkwafina gives one of her best performances yet. The script is tight, the music is good, and the action is great, gory fun.
Ronnie, call my mom!
I'm on it.
Ronnie, call my fucking mom!
Hello?
Right.
Ronnie, is this another butt dial?
You guys fucking bail? Hello? Guys?
Teddy.
What the fuck? Mom?
Teddy.
Mom?
Teddy?
Do you know who the fuck I am?
Teddy?
I'm Teddy fucking Lobo!
Like, I'm glad they didn't give away what kind of action this movie had in the trailers, because that was a nice surprise. My score is 4 out of 5. Number 9 is Polite Society. I went into this completely blind. Like, I didn't even see a trailer. I just saw the posters at the movie theater where I work, and that was enough to get me on board. I was pleasantly surprised. This is a fun action flick with a tight script and some solid humor. I don't watch a lot of anime. I've watched a little bit here and there. Not counting a bridge series, I think the only anime I've seen start to finish is Assassination Classroom. So I am not super knowledgeable in that regard. However, from what I have been able to figure out, this movie follows a lot of anime tropes. This movie is about a Pakistani family living in England, and it follows anime tropes. I love it. When I first watched it, I got, like, Kung Fu Hustle vibes, only somewhat less silly. Especially with the action. The action very much has Kung Fu Hustle vibes. Although, honestly, there's a decent chance that Kung Fu Hustle was also inspired by anime, so I don't know, does that count as coming full circle? Or is that just cutting out the middleman? Or, I don't know, whatever.
I'm not gonna let you throw your life away. He says he loves you and he doesn't even know you!
Priya Kansara is really good in this, especially considering it was her film debut. Like, she'd been in some TV shows before this, but this was her first movie, and she was really good in the lead role. Ritu Arya I'm familiar with, because she was in the Umbrella Academy. She was really good also. Like, pretty much the whole cast is solid. I don't think there were any weak links. Really, my only problem with it is that there is some cringe comedy in the second act that's really not funny enough to compensate for the cringe. Like, when you have cringe comedy, there are two ways of going about it. Either it's so cringy that it loops back around to being hilarious in a so bad it's good kind of way, or it's so funny that the humor outweighs the cringe. In this case, it was neither of those. I mean, don't get me wrong, most of the humor works. It's just a few bits here and there. My score is 4 out of 5. Number 8 is Evil Dead Rise. The answer to the question, what do you get when you combine the dark humor and cinematography of the original Evil Dead with the gore and scares of the remake? As much as I enjoy Fede Alvarez's take on the series, Lee Cronin clearly had a better grasp on the material. The camera work feels more in line with Sam Raimi's films, the character work is some of the best in the franchise, the effects are great, the sound design is top-notch. I love that they switched things up, so now, instead of trying to keep the Deadites contained and keep them from escaping, now it's, we're trapped inside this apartment with the Deadites trying to get in, and we're trying to get out. I do kind of wish they had leaned more into the dark humor of the first two movies. There is a little bit of slapstick, a la Evil Dead 2, so that was fun. And I love that the emotional stakes here are like the highest they've ever been. Okay, I should explain. I don't mean like because we care about the characters, I mean interpersonal stuff. I mean, in the first four movies, it's mostly just been like people who are really good friends who are facing this evil. In the original Evil Dead and the 2013 Evil Dead, there was a brother and sister, but aside from that, it was just, they were friends. I'm not saying that friendship is any less valuable than family, because it's not. It is equally valuable for different reasons. However, when you're writing a story, when you're telling a story, a familial connection is more likely to have a stronger resonance with the audience. So with this movie, the emotional stakes feel higher because these aren't just friends dealing with the Deadites, these are a family. Alright, fine, do the Fast and Furious thing.
Family.
Family. Family.
Family. Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family. Family. Family.
Family. Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family.
Family. Family.
My score is 4.5 out of 5. Number 7 is Scream 6. I actually really like that Scream 5 mostly stuck within the established formula. Like, it strayed here and there. There were elements of it that were new and unprecedented, like the fact that the victim in the opening scene not only survives that attack, but survives to the end of the movie. That was something different. However, it mostly stuck to the established formula, and I think that was the right call. For the same reason as The Force Awakens, where they were unsure of how welcoming the audience would be after such a long time off. So they had to test the waters, and they were going to stick to formula mostly, make sure that they didn't alienate their audience. I think that was the right choice for that movie, and I think that movie benefits from it. However, I think Scream 6 is an improvement because they were able to branch out and stray from the formula more.
Please help us! We were just... Please call 911!
There's a fucking line here, girl.
Trying to kill us. I'm telling you, sir.
You got a problem here, guy? Hey! Go out the back!
Thank you. locked. Keys! We need your keys! No. Watch out!
Wait. No.
Like, start from the opening scene, just like in Scream 5, they did something different with the opening scene, and I love it. I love that Kirby is back after being confirmed alive with that little freeze frame bonus in Scream 5. Yeah, the acting is solid across the board, no weak links there. Anyone who still thinks that Sam is not a good final girl after this movie, like, there's just no pleasing you. You can tell the production had some issues. There are a few aspects of the plot that don't make a lot of sense when you actually stop to think about it, but for the most part, it all holds together. It doesn't make it all fall apart. I love that they did something different with the Ghostface reveal this time around. No spoilers. It was something that I can't believe it took them this long to do, but at the same time, I also didn't see it coming. So, well done. My score is 4.5 out of 5. Number 6 is Creed 3. Apparently, Michael B. Jordan took a lot of inspiration from anime in making this movie, and it shows, especially in the final boxing match. Apparently there are talks of a Rocky and or Creed anime. Michael B. Jordan has instantly proven himself to be almost as talented a director as he is an actor, which in this case is high praise, because he is a great actor. I still think the first Creed is the best Creed movie. Hell, I think the first Creed is the best movie in this whole franchise. However, Creed 3 is definitely top 3. So yeah, the script is tight. I love everyone's character development is advanced. No Rocky this time around. He is missed, but like, he's kind of reached the end of his story, so it's fine. And yeah, like I said, like, I love the character arcs. We get the dynamic between hero and villain.
What's up, Donnie? You alright? You look tardy, bro.
Hey, man, no, you tell me, bro. You been playing me this whole time.
Guess you did get them letters, huh?
Why'd you lie to me? I vouched for you. I brought you into my home, bro. You met my family. I put money up for you. Put the gloves on your hands like you asked.
That's enough, Jolie. You put the gloves on my hands? Oh, homie. You must be punchy. Because if memory serves, you used to carry my gloves.
Get your shit and get out the gym.
The boxing matches in this movie are some of the best in the franchise, and I love that they finally addressed a discrepancy where in the first Creed, Adonis Creed was the lightweight heavy champion of the world, or light heavyweight? Yeah, he was the light heavyweight champion of the world, which is what Michael B. Jordan would qualify as if he were a real boxer. In Creed 2, for some reason, they made him the heavyweight champion of the world. Now, I don't know boxing, I'm going purely based off of what I've read online, but, like, that seems a bit implausible. And, like, they don't even acknowledge the whole light heavyweight part. So Creed 3 finally addresses that, yes, he has been both. He was the light heavyweight champion of the world, now he is the heavyweight champion of the world. It's still a bit of a stretch, but at least they acknowledge it. The score is 4.5 out of 5. Number 5 is Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. This is just a well-made movie. Full stop. It finally figured out the right balance between D&D lore and actually telling a good story and having well-written characters, which is something that all 3 of the previous D&D movies very, very heavily struggled with. And yeah, the script is tight, the characters all stand out. Most of the leads have their character arcs, and hell, even Honest Trailers pointed this out, that Doric is the only one who doesn't really get a character arc, but that's because she's too busy getting shit done. This is one of the few times I've actually been impressed by Michelle Rodriguez's acting. Like, I don't think she's a bad actress, I just think she's kind of like Natalie Portman, in that she relies heavily on the director for her performance. Like, not 100%, but like, with the wrong director, she's not very good. Here she is paired with directors who know how to utilize her talents. And I do mean acting and not just the fighting. Although that was awesome too. She was definitely the right casting for this role. But yeah, like the whole cast is solid, and there are so many little things that just make it feel like a people playing D&D, but not like distractingly so. Like in the second Dungeons and Dragons movie, the Wrath of the Dragon God, it felt like people playing D&D to a fault, to the point that it was just it didn't feel like a movie. It just felt like you were watching people play D&D. This is not that. This actually feels like a movie, but there are still moments where it kind of feels like people playing D&D, but like it's not distracting. It's not like that feeling overwhelms it being a movie, if that makes sense. There are so many moments where it feels like someone got a really high roll or a really low roll. Minor spoiler alert. Like when they're down in the Underdark and Zank is explaining the pattern of how they get across the bridge, which is like Leroy Jenkins levels of overly complex. And Simon just steps on the wrong spot and the whole bridge collapses. And all of a sudden, all right, shit, now what do we do? Do something. Oh, who? Oh, okay, I have some rope in my bag. Wait, what the hell's that? What, the walking stick? No, that's a portal gun. I'm sorry, a hither staff. Like, it genuinely feels like the players just fucked up so badly that the Dungeon Master had to be like, okay, here, that walking stick you've been dragging around, it's a portal gun now. When the, whatever they were called, the walking brains, the intellect devourers, they're attracted to mental activity, and they just walk right by the heroes, no reaction whatsoever. And Edgin's even like, well, that's hurtful. But it makes sense because everyone in the group, including Zank, is of a class that does not require a high intelligence stat.
Once the dead man is revived, we can ask him 5 questions.
3 questions. 3 questions.
At which point he will die again, never to be re-revived.
Were you killed in the Battle of the Everhorse?
Yes.
4 more questions, right?
Yes.
No, that wasn't for you. Did that count as a question?
Yes.
Damn it. Only answer when I talk to you, okay?
Yes.
Why did you say okay at the end of that?
I didn't.
Fantastic. Where's the shovel?
My score is 4.5 out of 5. Number 4 is Nimona. Chloe Grace Moretz is a national treasure. Let's just get that out of the way. This is a kid's movie that doesn't pull its punches. It's not afraid to tackle real issues, and it tackles them well. Like, Nimona essentially being gender fluid is just the tip of the iceberg.
Wait, not like that. Not like that either.
You want me to shift? You don't want me to shift? Pick a lane.
And now you're a boy.
I am today.
Spoiler alert for this part. This is a movie that deals with suicidal depression. And not only does it handle it respectfully, it does so on a level that kids can understand. This isn't like the Oogie Loves, where it's talking down to kids. It's like Mr. Rogers, where he talks to kids on their level, or at least close to their level. I mean, it depends on the kid's age, intelligence, and maturity. I don't know what all went on with this movie's production. Apparently, Disney was attached to it, but then they scrapped it when it was like 75% done because they wanted to cut the gay kiss, which is completely asinine. Because the whole point of this movie is that it's about otherness. Like, this is basically a deconstruction of what would happen if a fairy tale world stuck around and continued to advance into the modern era. Like, it's like knights and kings and monsters, but like with like futuristic sci-fi technology, like rapid fire crossbows that shoot like energy bolts or whatever. No, they are projectiles. They are actual physical projectiles because they get stuck in the flying car. Oh yeah, there's flying cars too. So what was I saying? It's a deconstruction of that, like what would happen if a fairy tale world stuck around. Like, there is the mentality in most fairy tales of humans good, monsters bad. And it's basically otherness. It is discriminating against others simply because they are different, fearing them because they are different, even if they are harmless, which, as shown here, can often lead to the mentality of, if they think I'm evil, then let me be evil. The voice acting is solid. They play around with the expected plot beats that naturally come with this sort of story. You have the hero who is framed for murder, and everyone thinks he's guilty. There are certain story beats that those kind of stories usually hit at some point, and the story hits many of those beats, but not necessarily in the order you'd expect. Like, you have the engineered public confession, but it doesn't happen when you'd expect it to, and it doesn't go the way you might expect it to go. But, like, that still feels natural. It still feels logical and realistic. Like, it doesn't feel forced or contrived. It works. This movie knows how to balance its tone. Like, we have Act 1, doing the introductions for everything, and then you have Act 2, which is fun and games.
Excuse me, Mr. Spicer. I can't find my mommy. She went to that stereo over there. Can you help me find her? Please.
Oh, no. Let me go ahead and pass this problem on to someone else.
Puzzle time!
This baby's fully loaded, state-of-the-art sound system.
There. Can we just part the waters? Thank you. Move aside, guys.
Please help me. Help me, please. Please help me. A little demon baby is after me. Please help me, please.
Then you have Act 3, where the stakes are higher and things get serious, and holy shit, do they get serious, and holy shit, do they pull it off phenomenally. My score is 5 out of 5. Number 3 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. James Gunn hate will not be tolerated in this house. Much like The Suicide Squad, this movie is Gunn at the height of his powers, specifically of his ability to create genuine emotional reactions in the audience. You will laugh, you will cry, you will cheer, sometimes all within the span of a couple minutes. The entire cast is at the top of their game. The returning cast all get to explore new sides of their characters, especially Zoe Saldana. I love seeing this new version of Gamora and just trying to flesh out her spot in this strange world she has found herself in. Because, no, this is not the same Gamora that Peter fell in love with. This is someone else. The High Evolutionary doesn't have much in the way of redeeming qualities, but unlike certain other MCU villains, that doesn't really make him any less of a great villain, because James Gunn's script and Ncuti Iwuji's performance give him a surprising amount of nuance. Again, few to no redeeming qualities, but still a surprising amount of nuance. Will Poulter is a welcome addition to the cast. I am not familiar with this character of Adam from the comics. Apparently he is very different here than he was in the comics. But, in universe, in the movie, it makes sense. He was created to be this perfect being, but they quite literally pulled the plug too early. So now he's kind of immature and not fully developed. Much like in the Christmas special, Maria Bakalova shines as Cosmo. Whatever casting director found and hired her for Borat's subsequent movie film, thank you for this absolute gem of a woman you have given us. The action is great. The musical score and soundtrack are also great. The technical aspects are all on point.
Hey! Where did you go, squirrel?
On the ground!
No, stop! No! No! Stop, please! Stop, please!
In this house, we respect James Gunn. My score is 5 out of 5. Number 2 is John Wick Chapter 4. There are far too many film franchises, not just action, of all genres, where they start to get declining quality because they are unwilling to bring it to a conclusive end. Like Fast and Furious. Okay, I haven't seen Fast X. I have heard mixed things about it. I will definitely watch it at some point. But like, Fast X is finally trying to bring that juggernaut in for a landing. Okay, that's something, but at this point, Fast and Furious has gone on for so long that like, it should have ended by now. It feels like they're bringing it to an end belatedly. Or like, Pierce Brosnan's James Bond is another good example, where first movie is great, the second one is good, the third one is okay, and the fourth one is trash. Diminishing returns. Die Another Day was supposed to be a 20th anniversary celebration, but they got too focused on that and they didn't put enough effort into actually, telling the story. Then you have franchises where they actually bring things to a conclusive end because they know they can't let it go on for too long. Like Daniel Craig's run as James Bond. Sure, Quantum of Solace is ass and Spectre is messy, but they knew, all right, we can't just let this one drag on like the others did until eventually people lose interest. We're going to bring this one to a conclusive end. And they did, and No Time to Die was all the better for it. John Wick is another franchise that knew when to end that particular story. Like, the franchise is still going. We have the Continental coming out. I don't know, is that this year or next year? That looks pretty cool. But, like, as far as, like, the character of John Wick is concerned, that story has come to an end. And I honestly think they pulled it off spectacularly. John Wick Chapter 4 has the biggest character arc for John since the first movie. Like, he kind of had character arcs in 2 and 3, but that wasn't the focus. Here, like, his biggest character arc, his best character arc was still the first movie, but with this one, he had a decent character arc. This movie sent the character out on a high note. The action. Chapter 4 has, like, the most consistently high-quality action scenes, and the runtime is definitely a part of that, because they had enough runtime to fit so much action in. But, like, there are no bad action scenes in this movie, or in any of these movies for that matter. The acting is solid across the board. I do love the new characters that we got. I either just love them, or I love to hate them. My score is 5 out of 5. Finally, my number 1 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I don't know how, but this movie somehow managed to top the first one.
All stations, drop what you're doing and stop Spider-Man. You? Wait, me? Miles Morales, he's entering Sector 4!
Do I, have web on my face? What's the deal?
Miles! He's right there, he's right. Turn around!
I don't see anything, boss.
This day get any damn weirder?
I guess it can.
And then I looked at my uncle and...
let me guess. He died?
The technical aspects here are just as great as the first movie, if not better. The voice acting is fantastic. The writing is top-notch. My one tiny problem is that this plot is not quite as coherent, but, like, it's not that it's incoherent, it's just a little bit lesser. It's like the one area where this movie doesn't improve on the first movie. It's an improvement pretty much everywhere else.
Better. Better? Just better.
I love that, like, yes, this is essentially a part 1 in everything but name. And I love that because, like, they knew that we can't tell Miles' story in the length of this movie. Like, they had too much to tell. It was going to be like 4 or 5 hours, so they split it. This movie does a better job of pulling off the cliffhanger ending than Dune. I love Dune, but this movie did it better. Because, like, they did a better job of wrapping some things up, but still leaving other things hanging. Like, Miles' story has been left on cliffhanger, but Gwen's story, her character arc, her conflict with her father, the police captain, that is wrapped up. So we have something wrapped up by the end of this movie. You can't just leave everything hanging. You have to wrap something up. But, you know, I love the animation. They are really pushing boundaries with animation with these movies. Like, from certain cameos to, like, I don't remember my film terms. It's like auteur, not auteur. It's like expressionist or abstract or whatever the hell you call it. When in Gwen's universe, the shades of the colors will change to fit the mood and the emotions. When she is in conflict with her father, he is orange and yellow and a little bit of red because he is warm and inviting and he's trying to open up to her. He's trying to be a good father. She is cut off. She is closed off. She is mostly shades of blue. And like everything in the room, everything except him is the blue, is her shades of blue. And then when he's like, are you too punk to give your old man a hug? When she just rushes over and hugs him. And then his warmth spreads to her and her colors become more orange and yellow. And it eventually spreads to the whole room. I love that shit. This is cinema. My score is 5 out of 5. Hey everyone, what are your favorite movies of the year so far? I don't know, what movies do you think I should watch that I didn't include? Let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe and all that. If you don't like the video, tell me why, constructive criticism, and then subscribe anyway, and you'll get a notification when I upload a new video. Watch that video, and either tell me why that one sucks, or where there's room for improvement, or tell me where I've improved. I'll take any feedback I can get. I have a Patreon, that link is in the description. I plan to start uploading exclusive content to there soon, probably by the end of the year. I haven't yet, but it's definitely happening. I'm also a writer. I have stuff on Archive of Our Own and Wattpad, and those links are also down in the description. If that seems like something that might interest you, go ahead and check it out. That's all for now. Stay safe in these crazy times.